What's the fight about? Because it seems to me that the Goodlatte bill does agree something needs to be done about the Dreamers. And on the other hand, the moderates agree something's got to be done about the border and getting the border more secure. Isn't this just a negotiation of the price at this point about exactly how much we got to do, how much we got to pay?
No, not really. The major issue is, will this happen again, right? So have you fixed the immigration issue? And so the Goodlatte bill has a key piece called E-Verify, which has to do with legal hiring, and that turns off the magnet from the rest of the world. It's got the wall in it, and we've agreed, right? The compromise bill is the Goodlatte bill. You got 700,000 DACA kids that need a pathway out of the shadows. So we said yes. We compromised with the Democrats. President Trump said 1.8 million, and the Democrats said no. And so the real issue is no one likes all this political anxiety and angst going on, so we want to solve it. What keeps you from getting DACA again in 3 or 4 years? Once you throw up this compromise deal, right, you get a wall for DACA or some deal like that, you still got the green light on. The magnet is still in place. The folks that are coming have broken rule of law in their home countries, right? Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, et cetera. And we don't want to go down that road. The most important thing is our sovereignty and our rule of law. And so we want to keep that in place.
So, Congressman, why don't you and I do a little negotiating here? I have no authority. Yeah. You do. That makes it easier for me. Let's do a little negotiating. Let's assume for the moment that the moderates said, OK, let's put E-Verify in so that you have to figure out where these people are coming from that you're implying. We'll put that in. At that point, could you reach a deal on the amount of money being spent on the wall and the virtual wall and exactly whether there's a path to citizenship? Could you cut a deal along those lines?
Yeah. Yeah, if that E-Verify piece gets in, you got my attention big time. Because that's and by the way, this is not conservative versus liberal. Senator Obama ran on E-Verify in 2005. Clinton was yes on it. Hillary was yes on it. Barbara Jordan, the great civil rights African-American leader, was yes on it, right? That's back when the Democrats used to care about cheap labor and the American worker and wage rates going down. Now they've flipped over to identity politics. They're going full open borders. They don't want the border security part, the wall part. They don't want to give Republicans a win. And we've given them the compromise. We're going to take care of the DACA kids. So now all we want to see is reciprocity and a compromise from their half. And the discharge petition, which goes in, would result in a more Democrat-friendly bill winning, the one with the most votes. Just a full all-out amnesty bill would win with 200 Democrat votes and Steny Hoyer. And so that the House and the Senate and the White House were just given to Republicans by the American people, and we have to keep our promises to the American people. And they're kind of left out of the debate. That's the amazing thing about the bubble up here.
When you say taking care of the DACA kids, could you include a path to citizenship in this bill? We could, but that we don't want to let anyone cut in line, right? That's the issue. They will have a pathway to citizenship, but they have to wait in line like everybody else. All the other immigrants and Hispanics in my own district, in my own state, across other states, if you look at the polling data, they don't like cutting in line, right? Everyone should be treated equally. They get a pathway to a new status where they're not hiding in the shadows and fearful of deportation, et cetera. But you still need a compromise bill. You need a compromise bill. You called the Goodlatte bill a compromise bill, but there's another one that's being worked on by moderate GOP members, right? We don't know the details of what could come out of that. So could you include a path to citizenship as a compromise to get E-Verify, to get these your way on sanctuary cities and so on?
Well, I just covered that. The American people, when they voted, they didn't vote primarily for that. They wanted to first see the American worker taken care of and an end to cheap labor, et cetera. We haven't done any of that yet, right? So the order here kind of matters. So the left got our attention. 25 Republicans went to work with 200 Democrats, leapfrogging the president and Paul Ryan and McCarthy and Scalise. And taking over the House floor with Democrats. That's not typical. Usually on every other issue, we work through a bill which goes through committee. We're not doing that. We're whipping together a bill at the last moment. We're negotiating with the press and et cetera. But the debate should be with representatives who represent the American people. As I said, they're the ones being left out. And if you look at the polling data, they want to first see border security and their wages going up and a concern coming out of D.C. that we're going to take care of the American worker first.
Well, goodness knows I can't blame you for not wanting to negotiate with the press. That seems perfectly reasonable. But let's talk about those American people, because they're going to get to express their views in November in an off-year election. And I want to know, go back to your 7th district in Virginia. How important will this play? You now have an opponent who did pretty darn well, got more votes than anybody else did in a primary yesterday, Abigail Spanberger, a former CIA agent. Is this going to be a major issue in your re-election campaign?
Well, we listen to the people, and yes, it'll be a major issue because it's a major issue for the people, right? They're going to have a choice between rational policy that Senator Obama voted for and ran on and Clinton voted for versus a very progressive candidate that shares the views of Nancy Pelosi on open borders, et cetera, and that the American people don't want that. And they're also going to continue to socialize Obamacare. Their solution to Obamacare is to add another federal program on top of Obamacare, while the federal program is already imploding under its own weight for the last 6 years. And they're acting like this is a recent innovation. And then 107 Democrats voted to increase taxes $10 trillion. And Nancy Pelosi's made it very clear, and my Democrat opponent probably has made it clear, they're going to raise taxes. They're going to get rid of the tax cuts and raise taxes. They had 107 votes to raise taxes by $10 trillion over 10 years. That would have brought the economy to an instant standstill. Instead, under Republican policy, you have growth now at 3%, maybe 4%, according to the Atlanta Fed. You've got historic unemployment rate lows with the African-American Hispanic community. And we have just good news coming on all fronts. So for me, it looks like it's an easy choice. And I won by 15 points last time. And I think the people are still basically in that thing. Are you better off right now than you were for the last 8 years? And the answer is clearly yes, you're better off.